After one of my videos about Youssef, who has kyphoscoliotic EDS and we still very much need your help, someone commented that they had been diagnosed with another very rare type of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Since knowledge is always useful, there's a video about Arthrochalasia EDS. First, for those who don't know anything about EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a group of 13 connective tissue disorder. I have the most common type, hypermobile EDS, and the only one currently where a genetic testing is not available to diagnose it yet. Connective tissues are in the entire body, and therefore EDS can impact on everything, but different types tend to have more specific common symptoms. Arthrochalasia Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or aEDS for short, can be diagnosed by genetic testing, but since they are expensive, doctors usually check that the person has enough clinical diagnostic criteria to process with genetic testing. To meet the clinical diagnostic criteria, the person must meet major criteria 1 and 3 or major criteria 1 and 2 and at least 2 minor criteria. The major criteria are 1. Congenital bilateral hip dislocation, 2. Severe generalized joint hypermobility with multiple dislocation or subluxation, and 3. Skin hyperextensibility. The minor criteria include muscle hypotonia, kyphoscoliosis, radiologically mild osteopenia, tissue fragility with atrophic scars, and easily bruisable skin. If the clinical diagnostic criteria are met, genetic testing will confirm the diagnosis with mutation of the COL1A1 and the COL1A2 genes, though it seems that the mutation of COL1A2 appears more often than the one with COL1A1. This type of EDS is very rare. 1 person over a million is affected. It is transmitted in an autosomical dominant way, which means that if a parent has the condition, they have 50% chance that their child will have it as well. Of course, spontaneous mutation can always happen, and like in any type of EDS. It seems that the COL1A1 mutation has, most of the time, more severe symptoms than the COL1A2 mutation. For people with aEDS who want to have children, a prenatal diagnosis is possible if they want to. Before the 2017 New York classification, aEDS was named as EDS type 7 and then subdivided in EDS type 7A and EDS type 7B, depending on the specific impact of the gene mutation. If you want to learn more about how it genetically works, I let you do your homework because it's already hard to understand and even harder to pronounce. Sorry. People with aEDS suffer from bilateral hip dislocation. Muscle hypotonia is common, therefore can have an impact on gross motor development in children. People often seem short because of the severe thoracolumbar scoliosis. The skin is unusually thin, velvety, only moderately extensible, and can be excessive and redundant over the limbs. In some cases, the skin has healing issues and result in atrophic and hemosiderotic scarring. Some people with aEDS can have specific facial features like frontal bossing, more space between the eyes, a mouth disformation called macrostomia, a depressed nasal bridge, and a bluish sclera of the eye. Abnormal extrabone plates in the skull and abnormality-wide frontonal have been described and suggest that this type of EDS has bone changes and fragility similar to people with mild osteogenesis imperfecta. Because of the hips and other joints dislocation, premature degenerative arthritis often occurs. Surgery to prevent those dislocations can be complicated and the success is uncertain. The joint hypermobility tends to get better as the person ages. Braces are often needed to stabilize the joints and help the person to work on their muscles to reduce hypotonia and have better motor development. Like every type of EDS, early diagnosis can make a huge difference, and adequate medical care is needed. This includes appropriate physiotherapy, occupational therapy, orthotic management, and surgical treatments. However, due to the extreme rarity of this condition, there's a general lack of knowledge on how to treat aEDS the most successfully. I hope you learned something in this video. For people with aEDS, we love you and we support you. If you have advice for your community based on your experience, feel free to share in the comments. And for those who want to learn more about EDS, almost all the information I have found about this type of EDS is from the book Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, a multidisciplinary approach that you can find online for free. If you are able, consider to support Youssef, who suffers from KEDS, which is similar to aEDS in many ways, and who is trapped in the watermelon palace, not able to have proper medical care and even struggle for food. Thank you in advance, and lots of spoons!